You should never make a margarita from a mix. I'm Brian Johnson, and in this episode of Better Cocktails at Home, we're going to be making the margarita. It's a classic, and I like to follow kind of some tried and true techniques, so let's get started. Now, margarita is a tequila-based cocktail, as everybody knows, and I'm going to use a reposado in this one I'm making, but I generally either use a blanco or a reposado. I think they both kind of work, and they both add a different variation. The blanco is a little bit more bright. The reposado is a little bit more relaxed kind of feeling to it. But I say make them both and see what you think. And I'm going to do 1 3/4 ounces of tequila. And add that to our shaker. And then the second is a sweetener, and we're using Cointreau or a triple sec. Cointreau's a really nice triple sec, and I would recommend spending the money on it. It makes your drinks much better. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of Cointreau. And add that to our mixing tin. And then finally, we're going to do 1/2 ounce of lime juice. And then we add that to our mixing tin. Now, you'll notice that the ingredients I've added, this is what we call a sour. There's other cocktails that are exactly the same format of what's called a sour. It's a category of cocktail. So in this case, we have a base spirit, which is tequila. We have a sweetener of Cointreau or triple sec, and then we add a lime juice for the souring agent. And if you look at other cocktails that are just like this, like the sidecars, another classic, which it's the same exact formula, and the proportions are different depending on how you make it, but it's got the same thing of a spirit base, a sweetener, and a sour. And kind of once you learn that triangle in the sour category of cocktail, you can kind of really take that and riff on it a little bit and do your own thing. But it's a very important kind of drink to learn how to make and kind of understand how the three things interplay together. Now, because we have lime juice in this, we're going to shake this cocktail because it's cloudy to start with, so we're going to continue with that. And I'm using a Boston shaker for this, and I'm using a 2 metal tins. Sometimes you see people use a metal tin in a pint glass. It works, but I prefer metal. Shake about 8 seconds, nice and firm. And then I'm going to do a little bit something extra for my margaritas when I do it sometimes. Sometimes I'll just do it with that and do it and make it. But I'm going to add a little bit of mezcal to the glass and just do a little rinse of that. And mezcal is also an agave-based spirit. It's related to tequila, but it has it's created in a different way. It's distilled in a different process, and it has a lot of smokiness to it. It just really adds an interesting dimension. So it doesn't take much, just a tiny bit. Get nice and coated. And give it a little extra flavor. And then once you're done with that, we're going to double strain. And double straining catches all the small shards of ice and keeps it from watering down the cocktail. Now you can garnish with lime if you want to. I frequently don't. I generally find you don't really need the oil from lime because limes don't really produce a lot of oil, so you don't really miss in that. But I find that it works just as well without a garnish. So. In this case, you get a lot of agave, you get the tequila. I mean, it really comes through. It should be forward. And you get sweetness, a little orange from the Cointreau, and then obviously the lime juice comes in. And when you add the mezcal, like I didn't coat the glass with it, it's, you get a little bit of depth of flavor, a little bit of smoke to it, and it just kind of adds just a different component. But I implore you to not drink mixed margaritas. Don't drink ones that are slushies generally. I mean, if you make it like this and you blend it up, maybe it's totally different. But as a rule, generally you should make it as a sour cocktail. And it works really well when you taste it like this. I think you'll find that when you create one, it just adds a lot to it, and it's a really wonderful cocktail, and it's a reason why it's so popular. But that's how you make the margarita.